Hello. If you are here, say hello in the chat, please. Hi. So I'm here on Facebook doing a Facebook Live. Please say hi when you come in so there's some kind of interaction. That helps a lot. Hopefully you can hear me okay. That'd be a great response to let me know. So through StreamYard, an app that is out there, I'm able to do this live chat, and I'm also going to be watching the Let's Show Up for the Arts. Lauren Gallo and Gabriel, I forget his last name, are doing the virtual Artwalk in Pioneer Square. And so that is showing up here. Nope, here. Everything's backward on live stream. So I thought we could watch that together. And I'm also happy to talk about my work that is currently at 4Culture Gallery, but not open. So we're all stuck at home anyway. So if they were open, we couldn't go. I hope everyone is well. And it's 6:31. I'm really excited to see the work that Lauren and Gabriel have put together for Artwalk tonight, and their commentaries. I really send my thanks out to 4Culture for setting that up, and to all the galleries that would very much like to have a very different night tonight than the one that we're having. So we send so much thanks to all of those galleries. And I send thanks to all of you. I'm not sure who's there because you haven't said anything yet. The chat works great. I should be able to see your comments. So please say hey. But we're all in this together is what we've been saying. And this is a moment where we're all in this together. So I want to just also mention that part of this art by the hour, the virtual art walk that's going to happen tonight, it'll be, I think, 25 or more different galleries are a part of this. It should be starting any second now. And it's going to cycle through the different galleries. There was so much good art in March that none of us really got to see. And one of those that's really close to my heart, in addition to my own show, is the Coca show, the member show. And I was able to curate it. It is such a great show. I know I have heard that it's staying open through June, so hopefully we'll have some freedom from the government and the governor to let us go and see art. But it is a great show. I know at cocaseattle.org you can see you can see all the pieces, and hopefully you'll make it by there as well as the show. So it's very possible that this is not working because I'm not seeing any comments that should be coming through. So if someone out there watching could just say, hey, I'm hearing you, and let me know that this is working. This new technology and way to get out into the world is new for all of us. So we're all trying to do it as best we can. It's actually been quite fun to learn some new technology and to learn how to do live streams. So thank you for being here. I see there are 2 people watching. You may be trying to comment and it's just that is not working. So I thank you. And I am also waiting for the virtual art walk to start. And it's not going as well. So maybe I will just head into showing you about my work at 4Culture. I'm just going to open a new screen and get some new info up here. Excuse my distraction. I see someone hearted. Thank you. Okay, so I can see the likes and hearts, but I guess the comments must not be working. So thank you. I know you're there. All right, so. All right. So over on the 4Culture site, that's what I have up here. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Future Memory is the name of the exhibition. And there's a lot of information there, but I thought what people would want to learn about and know about is the work itself. So this is a photograph, and huge thanks to Joe Freeman for making some wonderful installation shots of the entire room. He did a great job. These are his photographs, all on the 4Culture side are his photographs. And these are 2.5 works that you see here. To the left, at least on my screen, the figure with the cloak is Numa, Breath of Life. And that piece in particular is 120 inches high by 99 inches wide, so roughly 10 feet high by 8 feet wide, something like that. And I start with a photograph for all of my images. And then I work with different materials that are significant to the process. Specifically, I print the photographs on rice paper, and then I might stain them or paint on them or somehow maybe even write on them. And each of those things, the rust that I've used, for instance, is indicative of an element of conceptual element of entropy, as well as letting go, and maybe that moment where you've held on to something so long that it literally starts to rust. It is a slow process of letting go, is what I'm trying to convey when I use rust in my images. And Numa has quite a bit of rust. For tonight at 7 o'clock, I'm going to present a video that I did, and it's already on 4Culture's site. So if you want to skip ahead and go check it out now, feel free. This live stream may also not work in that way, so who knows, but it is on 4Culture's site, and it is my creative response to COVID-19. At the same time, I've done guided meditations for each of the work, and I especially want to thank the people that came on March 9th, all 5 people that came on March 9th to experience the guided meditation. So it is a very brief 2 minutes of some of the ideas that I wanted to convey in Pneuma, Breath of Life. Also in this picture is Jupiter, and Jupiter is the horse that's running toward us. What you can't see in this image is some natural minerals called mica that I created, or sorry, that I put into the mane and the tail of the horse. And then to the right, you have half of Animistic Maelstrom. It's a much larger piece. Animistic Maelstrom is 28 feet wide by roughly 10 feet tall. Let's move to another image. This is Jupiter. So you can see he's 124 inches by 137 inches. And I'm going to do a larger view for you. There you go. All right. So again, thanks to Joe Freeman for this awesome installation shot. So I photographed this horse. I was lucky enough to know a couple people, and they have 11 or 15 different horses. And I happened to mention that I was looking to make some photographs of horses without saddles and bridles and just free. And they were happy to accommodate me. So I really, really, really appreciated being able to go out into their corral and into their pasture and just photograph their horses. He really was close. He really was running right at me. So this photograph, I was so into it that I didn't move. And what you see here is this horse running at me, and about 4 or 5 feet in front of me, I think it's a mare, she decided to turn. And so there was mud flying up from her hooves, and then she cut in front of me. And it wasn't until I felt her hoof on the ground about 4 feet in front of me, I felt the earth move, because they are such huge, beautiful, massive creatures. And she was running. And then I looked to the owner of the horse, and she could tell I was a little concerned that I might get ran over. And she said, no, 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 it's fine. So I did not get ran over, and I was able to capture the momentum of this piece. And that's exactly what I was hoping for. I captured quite a few beautiful images of horses. I'm so thankful. And this piece is huge on the wall. I wish we could experience it together, and hopefully at some point we will. This piece in particular is the one I was saying that there's minerals called mica in the mane. So as you walk around it in person, you experience the reflection and the light bouncing off of that mane. I had a ton of fun putting mica on these pieces, and I wanted to put it on everything, so I edited. But there is another piece, Animistic Maelstrom, that I will show you, and it has some mica in it as well. So in this piece, it's so funny, artists work on things, and you could work on something for days, and it's so underneath the surface that no one will ever know. I, for instance, painted a very light blue wash in the top pieces, so sort of a blue sky background. And then the horse was stained with tea. I had a lot of fun doing that, and I spent all weekend, and I came home and told my husband, Stephen Rock, I just spent the entire weekend staining this horse with tea, and no one will ever know. So, but I know, and he supported me in that, you know, we do things and we don't understand exactly why, and sometimes we understand later. I wanted a warmth to the horse, and so why not just paint it? I don't know. I stained it with tea. I will say that the rust and the tea and the black is an India ink, and the rice paper. I've used watercolor and gouache and obviously the mica flakes. So most of the work is all organic. And I haven't mentioned I work with encaustic, which is beeswax and resin. So to fuse and to blend encaustic with other materials, you do need to work with organic materials because it won't fuse with plastics or glass or metal. Not that my pieces are rigid enough to encase with such heavy materials. These are very large, so the entire piece is 124 inches tall, high, 137 inches wide. And I print on multiple sheets of large pieces of rice paper. So I've pulled this piece apart in Photoshop, and then I put it back together. And that deconstruction of the work is really important to the concepts that I'm working with. I'm very interested in layers, obviously, with my work. Layers are very important, but also important to that is the idea that we as humans kind of don't pull ourselves together all the time. And this body of work, it's based on the Oracle series, and it's very much about human and nature. And sometimes things don't come back together right, but it's still there and it's still moving forward. And with work that's about humanity, I think it's really important to affect the surface, to have the surface have scars and to have affectations that show the history of it. These are pieces that I layer together on the wall, but I'm talking going back to the shipping part, and I want to talk about, you know, the surface affectations. I have a real Duchampian attitude about my work, and specifically, I'll layer the pieces together and then I roll them up, and then I put them in a sonotube, and I am able to transport them relatively safely to wherever they're going. I could tell you that Guy was helping to install the work, as well as Stephen Rock, Guy at 4Culture, and Jordan, of course. Jordan Helen was there, and there were several moments when. And then also, yeah, someone else helped as well. Someone's texting me. Sorry, I was distracted for a second. There were several moments when the work got dinged or it fell over, and I think that is all just part of it. It is part of our environment. I want the work to some extent to experience life and everyday living. There's a piece on this horse, if you ever get to see it in person, that's actually a big burn hole. Because I realized after I was fusing the mica into the mane with really large goops of encaustic. So encaustic, I heat it up in a skillet, an electric skillet, and it becomes liquid. And then you paint it on, and then I would try and sprinkle the mica in. But it's such a fast cooling process that the mica wasn't always sticking. So I took my torch, and I would fuse it further by having the flame directly on the encaustic and the mica. Well, I realized after a little while my lungs were a little sensitive. So I had to put on a face mask. We all know about those these days. And with that, when the paper caught on fire because I had an open flame trying to melt the wax, I couldn't blow on it. And so it created a hole in the paper. I think it's beautiful. I think it is also part of that Duchampian approach to things. So if I could see your comments, I would definitely take any questions. I do see some comments. Thank you, Arlene. Thank you. And Lila, so good to see you here. Thank you for leaving comments. I forgive you for leaving. Work thing, I know. Hi, Stephen. Thank you so much for being here. Great. All right. So feel free. Hi, Daniel. Yay. Comments are happening. Thank you all for being here. Great. Happy birthday. All right, you Aries. So feel free to comment. I do see your questions. If you have any thoughts, questions about the pieces in particular, I'm going to move to the next piece, Inner Sanctum of Peshmerel, 25,000 BCE. So I studied prehistoric art and architecture. That sounds hoity-toity, but basically I was inspired to travel caves in around the world. I was fortunate enough with Evergreen State College. I was on a 2.5-month journey into caves in France and Crete, Italy, and Greece, less caves in Greece and Crete, and more of the architecture part. But one of my very favorite caves is Peshmerel, and it's in France. It's in central France. I've been lucky to visit it a couple times. And, you know, the idea of studying prehistoric art is complex because it's prehistoric, it's pre-written, and it is it's theoretical, right? You don't know what these were for, and there's all kinds of theories. But what I find most centering as I go back to those experiences is that there were humans around, early modern humans, 25,000 years ago. So they've dated the markings in Peshmerel to 25,000 years ago, but there is a complicated process of doing that. So it could be older, it could be up to 40,000 years ago. And I think that is a beautiful thing to recognize, that we are just a small blip in this stream of consciousness. And you know, what are the marks that we're making right now? What are we doing as individuals, as humans, that help us move forward, that help us move forward as a collective? And at the same time, you know, it can feel less overwhelming just to recognize that we're here, and you know, time will pass, and we will survive all of this. So here in this piece, my work is very much about the psyche, and the horses are very much about the animal instincts that we have. And if we think about this one, you know, we're thinking about the instincts of the prehistoric man, prehistoric woman, prehistoric human. That was 25,000 BCE. And the creative marks in Peshmerel are so amazing. There's some of the most amazing, and I know, you know, there's so many in Lascaux and Chauvet, and those are very popular, but Peshmerel has these spotted horses. There's plenty of pictures online. And so there are these amazing spotted horses. And so I added a few spots to the white horse. I also added some hand-drawn different characters, lines, forms, inspired by markings both from prehistoric man that were in the caves, as well as Native Americans from thousands of years ago that are found here in excuse me, in the US. So there's plenty to see up close and personal to this piece that we're not able to see in this installation view. But we think about the various parts of our psyche that are moving, some they're moving together, some are pulling away. The process of installing the show was interesting. I didn't intend for the one horse that is in the lead in this installation to be going that direction. But as we installed it and played around with the image, it felt right to turn to see the backside of the print rather than the front of it. And because when you work with really thin rice paper and then you fuse it with wax, you have this transparency and you can use either side. Granted, the reverse side isn't what I had planned to show, so it has other anomalies as far as the wax, and it's actually really great. Again, that Duchampian approach to things. So this is one of my newer pieces in the show, along with Jupiter, and I'm really fond of this one. I'd love to go see it again. The great thing about being able to show this work is that some of these pieces I cannot even have up in my studio because they're too big. And so I really thank 4Culture Gallery, or rather Gallery 4Culture, for the opportunity to show really large installation work, and all of the wonderful galleries in Pioneer Square that that do have conceptual large-scale installation opportunities for artists. It's something that that is a wonderful benefit to places like Gallery 4Culture. So this is Numa, Breath of Life, and this piece is 120 inches by 99 inches. I spoke a little bit before about the rust, and there is some tea. Additionally, in this piece, and we're just about to 7, so I'm gonna switch over to the video of this piece here shortly. But there are details that we can't see here. We see a lot of rust, and we see the cloak and the figure. There are butterflies in her hands. There are bones in her belly. There's a butterfly at her, just below her throat and at the top of her head. And then inside the cloak that she's wearing, or maybe taking off, however you want to see that, there are patterns, dress patterns, sometimes maps end up in there. And those are representative of the roles and the systems that we really try to fit within, but usually they're oppressive and they're controlling, and we just can't. And so I love in this piece where she's taking off the cloak, and inside her belly there are some bones, and bones in my work are representative of our DNA. I was not raised by my biological parents, but when I met them as an adult, the similarities of voice and mannerisms were shocking, given that I wasn't raised by them. And it sort of inspired quite a bit of my work, in that the genetics and this DNA and these cycles that are within us, that we, I don't know, can we control them or not? I'm not sure. That's my exploration. But somehow, you know, they affect us, and I think that's fascinating. So it's dealing with that internal things that we can or can't possibly control, and then the external frame of holding and systems and roles that we try to fit within. So this piece, Numa, takes us to the breath of life. And then that is the very essence. Numa can also be translated as spirit. So it's not literally about breath necessarily, but more this sense of spirit and maybe soul. But I just love this piece. And again, I'm so thankful that it has it has been up, and I hope to be able to show it once more. I showed it at Gallery 1 in January of 2019, and I'm thankful for them. At that time, Numa was more like 13 foot tall. So for this, because the wall is shorter than they had at Gallery 1, she lost a couple feet, but she's still quite significant. So let's just see if we have any questions. So Daniel is asking, can you say what sizes are? Numa is 120 inches tall by 99 inches. And thank you, Lori. I'm so glad to see you here. Thank you. You are incredible. Hi, Phil. Thank you. It's my pleasure. Absolutely. So good to see your face on there. Wonderful. And Sarah, welcome, Sarah. So glad that you are here. Good. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing the screen just briefly. Hello, me again. And I'm going to show you the video that I created of Numa, and hopefully that will give you just a little more information about the piece itself. I do hope this works. All right, so. Okay, well, I couldn't hear the sound. Maybe you could let me know if you heard the sound. So if you didn't, then head on over to, there is some sound. So, and that is the new part of it, but there's also the details. So hopefully you were able to hear some of that. If you didn't, then please head over to 4Culture's site, and I'll put that up real quick. And you can go to my YouTube page and you can hear the sound. So if you're looking at their page, this is the Numa meditation. So please go check that out. Hopefully the sound worked. All right, let's see if, just to cover a couple of the questions. Okay, thank you, Phil. Yeah, okay, I was afraid of that. This is a new world, this tech world, so the audio has been a bit of a challenge. So thank you, Phil, for letting me know you didn't hear it. But head on over to my YouTube channel, and yeah, if you could follow it, that would be really, subscribe and follow me, that'd be super cool too. So Stephen, will the gallery open up later so I can see your work? Well, that is a great question, and I don't know the answer. I don't think anyone knows about anything that's going on right now. So unfortunately, my work is up, but we're all staying at home. So I don't have an answer. And excuse me 1 second, my eye is, yep. So I don't know the answer to that. And something from Sarah. Well, I adore your work, Sarah Everett. Thank you very much. All right. So, all right, enough about that. Let's head back over and check out a little bit more of the work at 4Culture. And once I change the screen, I can't see your comments, but I will come back to them. And so feel free to leave some comments. All right. So this is a triptych that's 3 separate pieces, and it actually can be seen from the outside of the gallery. So there's a little ramp that goes down, and as you're walking towards the E4C, which is the screens, the monitors where they have digital artists, you can see these pieces, at least from the outside. It's a great perspective. So thank you, Stephen, for asking. But if you happen to be down in Pioneer Square, then walk by 4Culture and you can see these from the outside. We have the pieces here that it's based on an aspect of astrology called Black Moon Lilith. And so I do astrology and read charts and all kinds of fun stuff like that. And so a lot of my work is inspired, in the least, obviously the horse, Jupiter, by astrology. And so the myth of Lilith is what I'm working with here. I'll back up a little bit and tell you that when I created these photographs of the individuals, I spent at least a couple hours, if not more, with the individuals before the shoot, and I read their astrology charts, and we talked about different aspects of the chart, and tried to pull out some archetypes that would be important for them. Archetypes that would be important for them to objectively look at. Sometimes, in art therapy models, you allow something to be outside of yourself so that it doesn't exist within. And the reverse of that is that you allow it to be a representation of something inside that you didn't know was there. So for this one, Black Moon Lilith was something that this particular model, a friend and another artist as well, was not familiar with. I often use asteroids and these points to tell a little wider, more significant story of the person that is in front of me, rather than just Mars and Pluto and Mercury and Venus and the known Western astrological symbols. So Black Moon Lilith is a point based on the sun and the moon and the ecliptic. And Lilith was the first wife of Adam before Eve, and Lilith was her own individual. She was not a part of Adam. And the story is that when the patriarchy when things changed and the patriarchy wanted the feminine to be subservient to the masculine, that Lilith wanted nothing to do with it. And she chose to leave. And this is the archetype of this figure. And so, you know, there are things with the feminine, the divine feminine, that society doesn't appreciate. So to the left, we have Black Moon Lilith Crone. In the middle, the one that's not quote unquote moving, we have Black Moon Lilith Creator. And to the right, we have Black Moon Lilith Shadow Child. And the one to the right is the one where you have more of the body exposed, the nudity. And so I think of the innocence of a child, and still there's this distortion of the face, and it's almost like a mask. Well, it was a mask, but in particular, you know, the feminine, the female child that can't speak her mind, and then the crone to the left, who, you know, if she does speak her mind, then she's crazy or she's hysterical, or you take your pick. You can fill in the blanks. These are archetypes that we all know well. And then also the Black Moon Lilith, the creator, is, you know, we recognize that the feminine creates. It is the only sex that can produce children. But do we really have the power to create as with the divine feminine? Do we allow that within ourselves? And what would that look like if we did? I think it with Black Moon Lilith, the archetype, it would be just a bit darker. It would be more mysterious. It would be less about the reality of what we see every day. And I'm just going to leave some blanks for people to fill it in for themselves. But the darker side of the things that are not seen is representative of Black Moon Lilith, and also that fortitude to do it anyway, and to that strength to have confidence. And yeah, there's lots of ideas in that. So let's see if you guys have any. All right. We've got some. Hello, Nicole. Hi, Roger. Thank you for being here. Amanda, hi. Thank you for being here. And Malpina, smooches to you too, darling. Thank you all for being here. All right. So heading back over. I am going to talk about the biggest piece in the show. Animistic Maelstrom is just about 28 feet wide, and it's hard to exactly say how tall it is, but it's roughly 9.5, 10 feet tall. So these two, again, all of my work starts with a photograph. So I photographed the individuals, and I photographed the bear, and I photographed the trees in the background at the base of where their hands meet. I photographed the flowers. And then there's a tiger face. So the bear and the tiger face are on the models. They weren't photographed that way. That's a collage that I did afterwards. There's so much on this. It's a huge piece, so it's so small here. I truly hope you're able to see it again, because I can't really dive into all the descriptions of what you might be looking at. But you see that the two models are blended in the middle, and they're blended both with each other. So there's a masculine and a feminine. And then I will say that they were not photographed together. These are two photographs in the same pose that I did at different times. And then I fused the rice paper prints together so that their hands start to join, but it's so they're not holding hands, they're joined artistically and creatively. Behind these individuals, there are trees that I photographed in Louisiana. And I'm not sure if they were burned, but they had a sense of looking like they had been burned. Possibly it was some other sort of destruction that happened. There's been lots of hurricanes, and well, we know all of that, and lots of water that may have affected those trees. So they are, those trees that don't have leaves on them are behind these two individuals that were coming together, and that it all sort of blends together in the piece. And then on the individuals' backs, in the actual photographs that I took of them, I put the bones on their back. So then once the print was done, I took rust and different stains and had the bones drip down. So that's rust that you see dripping down onto the bodies from the bones. And then on top of the rust and the encaustic, I used oil paint and painted back in some of the details of the bones. So it's definitely a mixed media process that I do. I additionally created some on watercolor paper. I used rust and tea and watercolor itself to stain strips of paper, which I have coming from sort of the tree area, and it's coming up, and then the butterflies are on the, we'll say they're limbs. That's what I was going for. So that's all hand-torn paper, stained and painted. And then each butterfly was photographed separately. Woodland Park Zoo, thank you, thank you, thank you. Support the zoo. Both the bear and tiger and the butterflies were all photographed at Woodland Park Zoo. So, so what is this piece about? Animistic Maelstrom. You know, the balance of nature is just the brief way to say that we have to let go of the structure and the systems and come back to nature. The bones, again, are indicative of this internal system and pressure and the genetics and the things that we're drawn to do, maybe the things that we're drawn to fear, and the fear that is all consuming right now, for instance, and that's being propagated as our support system. We have to let go of that. We have to trust. We have to come together. We have to trust our instincts. The bear and the tiger face came to me in shamanic journeys that I did. So in a shamanic journey, you typically go and you find a spirit animal that is there to work with you. And one of them, there was a bear. There's a really funny story about that, which I'm not going to get into right now, but maybe in a future live stream we'll talk about that. But it has to do with Star Wars. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. The bear, the nurturing, the protector instinct. And I put the bear face on the masculine figure. And, you know, I feel deeply for both the masculine and the feminine, but, you know, masculinity has some changes that we have to allow to happen. And the protector and the nurturer is the basis of this beautiful divine masculine that is here to help us with. And that has been distorted, just like the fear that is a part of our natural instincts. It has been distorted. And then the tiger for for the feminine side is further that wildness of femininity that just isn't actually allowed. And in some ways, you know, someone would think the tiger would be the masculine and the bear would be the feminine, but that's why it's important to swap them for my work, that the masculine is a wonderful protector and nurturer, and can hold us and be strong, and the feminine can tear the shit out of you if you fuck with her or you mess with her children or her babies. You know, there is a protector as well, and it can be very fierce, and it should be revered, both of these things, that we find this balance within us. And then the butterflies, I'm going simplistically here, that they are light, they are beautiful, and they're above this fray of, you know, these two entities that are trying to let go of the overwhelming the burden, if you will, of this systems, and trying to find this balance and trying to find itself in its opposite. And the butterflies are coming up above, and transformation, and allowing the lightness and the beauty to come forth. I think that this piece in particular, I can't remember who asked me recently, but someone asked, what is this work essentially about? Excuse me. And essentially, I want all of this show to show us that creativity, and that we are bigger than fear, that art and creativity and we as creators can come beyond that, can evolve beyond our fears. And Animistic Maelstrom is this, you know, it's this huge piece that is just this maelstrom of ideas. And hopefully that all made sense. So I am gonna switch over to this, and it's me again. So thank you, Amanda. Love the empty space too. And I really appreciate you being here for me to be able to share the intricacies of it with you. It's sort of almost as good as being an art walk, although that would be better. So we wouldn't be stuck at home, and yeah, you could see them in person. So I've rambled on. There is, that's pretty much all of the work in the show. There is one other piece that doesn't look like it's represented on the 4Culture website. So let me just, well, it's fine. I'll try and share that later or something. I'm open to any further comments, questions, and I am not sure what happened with the other virtual art walk that was supposed to happen, but it looks like it didn't work. I tell you, this tech stuff can be really challenging, so I'm very thankful to have you here and to be here, because it doesn't always work. But you know what? The great thing about technology is, and that we're all stuck here, you could do it anytime. So hopefully they'll be able to share all that information again. I want to just give another shout out to the Koga Member Show, to all of the Pioneer Square galleries, and all of the artists that are here watching and paying attention. And I know that you are doing your work, and what you're doing is so important. So if I can encourage you in any way to keep it up, both organizations and artists, we need you. And we have lots of creativity that we really have to come up with right now. There's new possibilities for what we're going to do next. And I know this is hard on all of us. It's been challenging. There's grieving and letting go, and new things that we don't understand. But what is exciting is that we have an opportunity to make something new happen. And we have to come up with some new stuff, with new ideas. And and artists are at the forefront of coming up with something out of nothing. Artists and the people that support us. Thank you, Debbie. You are one of those people. And so keep it up, keep your faith, do your work. I'm happy to share more about the work. So, but I think we're coming to a close, unless there's anything else that you'd like to know or hear. There's also a lag with live, so I'm waiting to make sure there's no other questions. And I really appreciate you all being here. So if you're interested in more of my work, like I said, there is another piece that is in the show that isn't on 4Culture's website. And you are great, Chris Sheridan. Thank you. Thank you. So my website's NicoleDement.com. So check it out and let me know if you are interested in more information. I do have a fundraiser because I am recently self-employed. And I also was there's so many wonderful people that have liked the Jupiter image that I thought I could create prints of that. So if anyone's at any point is interested in a print of the largest, well, no, not the largest piece, but the large horse, then there are some available and they're on my website. So thank you for checking that out. And no matter what, thank you for your incredible work that you're doing. And I see all of you here. And I really appreciate you saying, hey, thank you, Malpina. I know you have work out there too. And Sarah and Lori, Chris, Amanda, all of you, I know what you're doing and I appreciate it so much. So yeah. I will keep you updated. And I also have a newsletter that I recently set up, and I promise, I guarantee you I'm not going to spam you because I am not so regular with that. So sign up for the newsletter, and that is where you will see if potentially the show opens, and that's where I'll let people know, as well as this Facebook page. So with that, I thank you, each of you, and I think I'll sign off. Thank you for being here. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, and I hope to see you and be able to be closer than 6 feet away soon. Okay, bye.